I was just saying that I know this is public comment time, but these are important topics that maybe we should take a little time there to talk about them. I know that's not the normal protocol here. Okay, item 4, Mayor Frank Davis.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Ford. I was going to share about the Juneteenth celebration on Saturday, the 22nd. That was the only one I was aware of, but I would like to get with you after the meeting about the other two. And generally, I will do a proclamation for that, so I'll get with you and maybe you could help me with the other two meetings also. So
Can you repeat those dates again?
the times and the dates that I had was on the 15th, which is this Saturday at 12 o'clock at Douglas Center, correct, Mr. Ford?
That is correct.
And I had next Wednesday, which would be the 19th, which the city, that is an official holiday for the city, at 1 p.m. at the Coliseum. Yeah. I'm sorry, 11 to 1. 11 to 1. And then on Saturday, the 22nd, beginning at 2 p.m. at the Coliseum.
Correct.
So those are the dates I have. And I would like to get with you on those, Mr. Ford. So that will be those events coming up, and then the July 4th celebration will be at the Veterans Park downtown on July the 4th. This year we will be honoring the 269th Engineering Florida Army National Guard group that they were deployed for 2 wars during the Gulf Wars. I think Desert Storm was the first one, is what it was called, and then the second one was Operation Iraqi Freedom. So we will be, we've been inviting those men and women who were there and were deployed. We want to give them a special recognition. Of course, we will be recognizing all veterans as well. If you know of anyone who was in the 269th who was deployed for either of those wars, please contact them and tell them we would love to have them there. If you give me their number, I will contact them and give them a personal invitation. As a matter of fact, while I was sitting here, I texted a gentleman on Sunday, and he just texted me and said he will be there. So we're looking forward to that. We're looking forward to recognizing those men and women who served. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Item 5A is Ms. Owens.
Yes, I'm just very quickly telling I'd like for the council to take action and discussion of possibly that we're going to extend the CRA and the city of Ligo, that we go on to extend the CRA. I know businesses coming up, more businesses are getting involved in the city and see what, how, and what, and when can we talk about. What can we do? I'd like the city to vote on tonight to make a decision if we can and when we can extend the CRA in the city of Live Oak.
Nicholas Virgilio, City of Live Oak CRA Coordinator. We've spoken about this at the CRA meeting. You guys had, the board had voted to bring this to the council. Ms. Owens had kind of asked me to give another quick overview of the process here for you. That was the first step. The council would have to decide whether there is a potential blight issue in a certain area. Then they would have the city, our consulting firm, to conduct a study, which the city funds. CRA funds are for the current CRA district, and that area's tax increment are earmarked for that particular CRA area. So that's pretty much where you guys are at right now. You have to decide a specific area that you would like a study done, study conducted, and they would have a finding of whether or not it matches what for blighted and slummed under the definitions. And then from there, the next step is just you guys moving forward with deciding whether or not you want to. You'd have to create a new resolution finding that the area meets the definition of the blight and that the rehabilitation, conservation, and redevelopment of such area is in the interest of public health, safety, morals, or welfare. Fourth, a plan must be drafted for the newly designed CRA area. Lastly, upon adoption of redevelopment plan, the CRA's redevelopment agency may begin implementing the plan. The money to implement the plan comes from the creation of a tax increment trust fund. The redevelopment area must be approved by the council. So that's what you guys are at. Step today is a specific area that you'd like This cannot, I've just got to kind of add this in here too. This is pretty much the max level of my involvement that I can
Right.
give. My hours can solely be paid and dedicated towards the current district. This has to be a project that is completed on the city's time by a city worker or city employee. Mr. Sessions, that would be somebody selected. My recommendation is possibly looking at Christian. He does split his hours, but if he does it on the planning and zoning side, that might be a way that we could do that. He has expressed interest in being willing to help as well.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Who's going to do the study?
We have to hire a consulting firm.
Didn't we do one now?
We did.
We actually, I think I was the only one on the council at the time. North Central Florida Planning Council did one.
Yes, sir.
I think that, I just got a copy of that, I don't know if that was passed around. The problem we encountered was, it had nothing to do with the present district. And the funds in this present district, as I understand it, cannot be used in any future expanded district.
So there's two different answers that I'm getting on it, just to be 100% honest, right? That's the specific answer that it has to be for the funds for that district. And then the other, we had a speaker come through that stated the other way.
Well,
We need, I think, a little bit more exploration into that on the legal side of exactly which way that is going. To my understanding, the way that I was told the entire time up until we had Mr. Kentonis come and give us the information is that the new district would then have to have its own fund. If the other information is accurate, then that would be something we'd have to sort out on that.
well, I'm not here for pro or con. We did have there was a sample study done as to what it would produce, what a new district, there was 2 areas.
Can you give us that date when that was done, sir?
Well, I came on in 2014, so,
2014?
yeah.
I
And
think
don't
that
know if it was
it was
2015 or 16.
2017.
2017.
How much
And
would
they-
it cost to do that? It's not
Well, I don't
expensive,
know.
is it?
And as for the pricing, Ms. Owens, you did ask me on that. I put it out on the FRA board and nobody has answered me.
They did an analysis on 2010 on Area 2 northeast part of the base year being 2010 because they looked at numbers and the amount of funding or the amount of revenue would be 0. But those, I would just suggest, just the point being is there has been one done. It would certainly behoove you, I think, to take a look at that in addition to whatever else you were going to do.
I think before you get the cart before the horse, I think a process may be if members of the council want to present an area,
Yes.
a specific geographic area, I think at that point, you would need then to hire a consulting firm.
Correct. That
To
is the
come
next
in
step.
and determine initially, at first glance, if that's the right phrase, whether that's even going to remotely meet the blight, et cetera, definition. If it's not, then.
It's
then
14
we need to take
definitions.
a
It's
step.
pretty easy to meet. I'm just going to be honest with
Oh,
you,
it
right?
is.
It's a pretty easy thing to meet for the definition of blight. But that is the next step that the council needs to take if you were to move forward, is you have to select a specific area. Then you hire the consulting. We have to obviously hire a consulting firm who would provide that information, determine whether or not it meets all of the criteria that needs to meet. Then you guys would obviously have to vote on whether or not adopting the district. We'll obviously have to find out more information if it's the recreation of reimagining, adding to the district, or creating a new district, is whichever way.
And I think that's where one area the consultant would be helpful at the very beginning. Because if there are 2 alternative methods, the council needs to know whether it's easier or harder to add to the existing or to create a whole new CRA district, which would presumably create a whole new CR board.
It would be, the board can, from my understanding.
It can oversee both.
They oversee both. It's just the way that the funding goes to each, so.
Two budgets.
Correct. It would be 2 separate budgets if that's the route that it goes. So that is the step that you guys are at, is determining which area and then deciding if that's the way. Yes, sir?
Okay.
Question. Have you looked into this as you the CRA director on these criterias or alternative?
This is
Do we
looking
create
at,
a new, or do we?
that's all determined by the company that we have to hire.
But no, question, have you looked into it? Did your own pretty much study in this city, since you're the CRA district?
That's not something that I'm qualified to do.
You're not qualified?
No, sir, that's a specific company, consulting firm that has people with very specific training and knowledge on that level of work that is.
So
only that.
asking
That's,
some questions, simple questions concerning CRA, since you're CRA director.
yes,
You cannot ask these questions whether you move to the next level a lot or not, but to give some idea.
there's 100% going to be areas in this city that match the definition of blight law, like I said. Whether or not that is something the council wants to do, or whether or not the consulting firm says, yes, this matches the area, you're going to see an increase of funding, because there's, beyond just, if it matches the blighted, we have to be able to say that this is going to increase in value, property tax value. That is another part that Mr. Thomas spoke on. That's why vacant lots, right? You remember he spoke on the vacant lots, how if it's a vacant lot, that's something that can be developed, that's where your property tax value goes up. That's how CRAs work. So, me personally, I'm not going to be able to look at an area and tell you the estimated value increase. That's not something I've ever been trained on. That's where the consulting firm. Do we have areas that meet the blighted? Absolutely. Never going to say we don't. That's of course. So,
My concern is because it's not just my district that I'm required. Businesses have been asked, other businesses in the city have asked me about this CRA, the extension of it. And they know that this is my pet peeve, CRA, and it's not just in my district. They're talking about expanding so we can get some money into the area for the businesses that are coming in. And I told them that I would definitely bring it to the board about expanding the CRA. They want the tax money and they want to be included in the CRA so that the city can become financially, we're talking about bringing businesses in and money and whatever. This is one way that we can get access money into our account. So I'm going to make a motion that we get a consultant firm to come in and talk about expanding our CRA.
it has to be a specific area in order to bring in that consultant.
That's what I'm saying, is
Yeah, in order for us to, that's just the state regulation on it,
Okay, Pacific area?
specific. So you
So
have to-
so you said the board need to go find out, we need to find out what area we need to look at?
what areas, we have spoken personally, so if you have those areas that you wanted to
Yeah.
do, that would be where you guys discuss that up here. That's not anything this CRA staff or city.
that was why I recommended is between now and the next meeting is the council can each look at, we already have the CRA map, we know what the boundaries are, is to bring back to the next meeting, give the information to Mr. Gill in time that we get it on the agenda and everybody can look at any proposed areas that you may want to bring into the CRA. At that point, we would vote on what areas to consider or not to consider, and then the next step would be to hire a consulting firm
Correct.
to analyze those areas selected.
To the board, this is my last meeting with you as a board member, but while I'm sitting here as chair of City Councilwoman District 2, I'm asking that the board consider all of Walker, what's that, the trust company down there? You know, on, is that Winterweed? You know, that Howling?
Winterweed.
That would extend your CRA down to Howlands at the roundabout, where the flags and all that is, that you would extend, that we would consider expanding the CRA down on both sides of Walker, not just on this side of Azalea Park is where it stops. But if we would look at over in District 2, it's not even District 2, but you would consider the CRA all down on Walker Avenue, north and south, all the way down to the school areas.
Question.
It's not my district, but,
Again, that's,
you understand.
yeah, just repeating.
Question.
It's back that you guys have to.
Question, so what district has the least amount of CRA in it? Okay, so now. Okay. I think that's what we need to be looking at, considering. in that particular area.
I was gonna say, may I make a comment? Maybe we need to do a workshop with a map and put it all down, and then you'll have something concrete to discuss when we come back to the next meeting to do that.
To the council, I'm asking, we have a special call meeting before we have our CRA meeting so that our map can be drawn and we can get together and we can make a decision and look at it.
Just want to, it can't be the CRA meeting, yes.
I'm not CRA meeting, I mean, but
Workshop.
workshop.
Workshop before the,
Let's do that, so Mr. Man can see
Need
that.
a motion on that?
Fine with me, just give me a date.
I think you can just direct staff to schedule a workshop
Yeah.
with the issue of being an analysis of the expansion of the CRA.
Councilman Owens, do you have a date in mind?
I think she said before or after the CRA
Yes.
in July.
Before.
well, I just want to make sure that
In
that
June?
could not be represented at the CRA because it's already here, so it has to be at a council meeting, not a CRA.
That's what we
It's
said,
a
council.
special city council meeting
Right.
workshop.
Okay.
Before the end of this month.
I do want to kind of, a lot of times people don't realize that how these lines are drawn, they're all based on taxable properties. That's how they're drawn. So it's, if you look at them and you always, I remember Mr. Stewart always saying, it looks like it's gerrymandered. But it's not. It's based on taxable properties.
They had
and
a-
qualifications. And it has to be a certain percentage of taxable money to qualify. So you can't just say it's blighted area, but there's got to be taxable.
It has to meet the certain
Those
standards.
taxable standards, and that's what I was reading at the state statutes. And I never realized that you have to have a certain percentage of that.
Correct, so there's the whole list of things, it's like I said, they have the initial 14 doesn't meet blighted standards.
Yeah.
And then the company, when the study was done that Mr. Mayor spoke about, was they made the determination actually that there wasn't enough.
Okay,
Well,
sir, hold on, one second before you go there. Let me talk, when we start talking about taxable money. If you look at the districts, you notice that in certain districts, your houses are valued more than other districts, right? I looked over in District 2. Your lots are smaller, so they're less valuable. Your homes are less valuable because they're older homes, they're mobile homes over in District 2. So the value of the tax money that's over in District 2 is not as much as it is over on Pine, whatever it is. So you have more money over in this area than you do in that area. So that's a blight area. If you really want to know it, the whole District 2 is a blight area because the tax money over there, there's approximately 2 or 3 homes over in District 2 that has any value, really true value. The rest of them the value is $2,000, $3,000. Am I correct?
Right, and that's what.
So
Mr.
this is what I'm
Thomas-
saying. So hold on, this is what I'm saying. When you start talking about the value, so we've been left out over in our district for a long time. It comes down to the value of the property because number one, your lots are smaller. They're not even correct because I have a piece of property that's in the road in the center of A Street. I own part of A Street. So don't sit here and continue to neglect. I'm trying to be very nice about the situation and
No, it's not me
saying,
neglecting.
not you. But what I'm saying
For
is,
everybody else to get.
don't look at it as fact that this is not because of the tax money that somebody else is putting in. Because people over in this district didn't have the same opportunities, didn't have the same money as money that was put in the other homes. Okay? So their homes weren't as valuable as the homes over on the other side of the street. This is all I'm saying. So let's stop looking at the tax money, what's coming in over on this side. Let's look at an overall picture of how can we get District 2 to look like District 1? How can we get District 2 to look like District 3? How can we get District 2 to look like the other district? That's all I'm saying. We are a city. We're not divided. We want that, and Mr. Session is so into this. We want the entire city of Live Oak to be presentable. So when people come into the city of Live Oak, when you ride down over in this District 2, you'll be just as proud to be in District 2 as you would be in District 1. And when people come into the city, I can attest to this. They don't only just ride over in this district, they come over in the other areas too to see what it looks like. The homes over on Azalea Park, when they look over there, they look across the street, what do they see across the street over there? That's terrible. So you want to make the entire city presentable. This is what you're after. You're not just after one particular area. You want your entire city, so when people come into your city, we can be proud to say we are a city. We are a beautiful city of Live Oak. That's all I'm asking. This is why I'm adamant about that.
But here's the thing, that's the statute, the statutes.
And that's where the
delegate that.
consulting
Yes.
firm will tell us where we're at. And so before we get the cart before the horse and keep beating the damn horse, is we need to identify the areas and then turn it over to the professionals, and they'll tell us whether a certain area qualifies under the statutory form.
Thank you.
Pick a geographical area, turn it over to the consultant, let them tell us.
And they tell us, yes, this is applicable, or no, it's not.
Thank
Let
you.
me just say, I agree with everything Ms. Owen said. I think the question is, not if you can do expansion, because I understand that you can.
Yes.
The question is, if by law you can use the money that is in this district in the new, to me, that's the question. And it does, so if that question's not answered,
So in an email.
seems like that's the first question to answer.
In an email from 2021, around then, there was information given by a law firm that stated that it had to be created through a new one. That's why
The tax base.
Correct.
The funding has to come from that
a new
district.
fund had to be created.
Which the planning council did an analysis, and the analysis, I mean,
So that's why if we can get that information and confirm it.
yes,
then
it's
I
not a
think
matter
that'll
of
help.
whether we agree or think it should be done, it's a matter of can you, in my view.
I'd love for more
what you
areas
can
to
do.
work with.
Yeah.
Right, absolutely.
Can you do?
That would be.
I'm gonna volunteer and go to the CRA meeting, state meeting next month. I'm gonna volunteer, pay my own way and go and bring back you some information.
So, I mean, the big thing, again, with the board is when you guys make that workshop, it would have to be a city worker, not on CRA.
I understand.
All right, now, workshop, date, time.
We'll look at everything we have going on and get with you guys, try to work out the scheduling, okay?
Before the end of the month, before the,
We'll do it, yes, before the end of the month, we'll try to figure it out, and then I'll have a big map in the city, we'll just sit around this map and we'll discuss it, and y'all pick out the best geographical spot in the city that you think ought to be.
now, we're gonna discuss, or we're gonna quick,
We're
wham,
gonna-
bam, thank you, ma'am.
We're gonna have a meeting, and we're gonna look at geographically, draw the boundaries. And then, once you all agree on the boundaries, then we'll turn it over to a consultant.
All right, now, I just don't want those quickies on these meetings, workshop to workshop, discussion to discussion.
Okay.
All right.
Is that good enough? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I needed to correct something that I've said previously if we're done with this. But,
Go ahead.
well, Councilman Campbell reminded me, he was deployed with the 269th.
Oh, woo-hoo!
Yes, you're on my list to get a personal, but I just, I knew you knew about it, and I just figured you were coming. It's kind of like your own family, you forget that you're invited.
You only live 2 doors down from me.
I know that, and I profoundly apologize to you, but your invitation is coming. I'm